Today we're going to be looking at this little bookshelf speaker here. This speaker, like most of these small bookshelf speakers, has a detachable front cover which just simply pops off like so, held on with these little clips in the corners here. Looking at the front of this speaker, you can see we have a relatively small mid-bass speaker here and a little dome tweeter at the top just here. Spinning the speaker around to the back, we can see that we have ourselves just a little bass port at the top just here. This would be normally mounted in the corner of a room. Well, for optimal results that would be. Just here there's 4 little holes where there was obviously some sort of bracket mounted at some point. Below that we have the binding posts just here. These are relatively simple things to use. There are 2 different ways these can be used. There's a little hole in the top there where you can simply just push a piece of wire in, or you can just plug a connector into the back of them like so. Just in there through the use of like a banana plug. Underneath that we have the specification label. We can see here that this is a super diamond model. It tells us that the normal impedance is 8 ohms, which is pretty standard for a hi-fi speaker like this. It's got power handling. Well, it says here program power 100 watts. I would say that's going to be 50 watts RMS, which is really what it means. It's 86 decibels. It tells it's got a 110mm driver for mid-bass and a 19mm dome tweeter for the high end there. Frequency range of 50Hz to 20 kHz. 50Hz isn't particularly low, but this has got quite a small speaker, so that's not too bad. This particular speaker was made in Yorkshire, England by Wharfedale Limited. It's a pine wood effect cabinet, so yeah. Now, for the more interesting parts, we're going to have a quick look inside this speaker. You can see each driver has a little bezel holding it in with 4 Phillips screws, so we'll just look at removing these now. You always want to move in diagonals when it comes to these sort of tweeters, especially when you tighten them back up, because you don't want to bend anything out of shape. So, get this out. There we go. Oh, there's a gasket on it as well. Just loosen that one off a bit more. So, the driver here has a little gasket on the back of it, just here. Just keeps it airtight inside. You can see the 2 little connecting wires here. You can see this is an unshielded driver, and by that I mean this magnet here is exposed. On a lot of more modern speakers there would be a metal can over the top of this to shield the magnetism from affecting sensitive equipment. Looking in the front, down the side of the speaker here, we can see the spider there, which is the spring part of it, if you like, that holds the driver just there. Moving inside the cabinet, we can see that there's some insulation in here, which just pull cables out. This stuff doesn't look too bad. A lot of older speakers had like a fiberglass insulation that was not particularly pleasant, but this looks reasonable. Looking inside of the cabinet here, we can see the crossover board in the back. If I just shine a bit of light in there, we can see there's just an inductor and a few capacitors and a resistor there. This is basically just a high and low pass filter that splits out the mid and bass to the bottom driver and the high range to the little tweeter at the top there. Just have a quick look here. Just lower this back down. We can just have a look at the tweeter now, shall we? It's magnetic. Sorry about the noise there, people. I wasn't expecting that to fall out. Oh, that's interesting, there's no gasket on this. I'm going to guess it's because this is a plastic bezel, whereas that on the bass speaker was metal. But again, just a magnet on the back there, not really too much. I can't see a date code or anything, so yeah, that's basically it. It's just a little dome tweeter there. Yeah, right, I think we best put this back together. So, just put this back. It doesn't want to go back in, that one, by the looks of it. Just put a couple of screws in there. If you're wondering about the black marks on my hand, it's ink. I spilt some ink on my hands and unfortunately it doesn't want to come off. I think it may have stained my skin a little. One of the hazards of working in printing. Just put the foam back in. Make sure that there's a little cavity there for the speaker and the foam isn't going to interfere with it. Next we can look at putting the this driver back in. We need to make sure we get the gasket lined up nicely. We don't want to squish that and have it not fit correctly. Just get a couple of screws lined up. Make sure we get them through the gasket correctly. Oh, come on, there we go. Beautiful. Just and a little last one there. There it is. So just tighten this back up. Just make sure we got these all nice and tight. A lot of people are tempted to use power tools on these sorts of drivers, but you really don't want to do that because you can actually deform the driver if you use too much torque. I know I've got just a little torque driver here, which is only a 10-volt one, but even so, I think it's quite dangerous really using these to tighten up screws on anything like this. They're perfectly fine for removing screws, although I wouldn't be using them in an ASMR video as they are rather noisy. Alright, so let's put the front cover back on. Right, thank you for watching, goodbye.